In the past 3 seasons, the Tampa Bay Lightning have been knocked out of the first round of the playoffs. They have made trades at the deadline in hopes of making a run for the Stanley Cup, but have been falling short. So what should they do now? We'll take a look at how the Lightning can adjust this offseason from a coaching standpoint and what to do with the roster. Welcome to Overtime Insights. Let's get into it. So let's look at all aspects of this team, and we'll start out with the front office strategy. Review and reinforce GM Julien BriseBois' approach. BriseBois has expressed confidence in the roster and has been aggressive in managing cap space, as seen with moves at the 2025 trade deadline to secure flexibility. However, with 3 straight early exits, a comprehensive internal audit of roster construction and trade decisions is necessary. Focus on why moves like acquiring Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand didn't translate to playoff success. Of course, Bjorkstrand was hurt and didn't play in this first round, but you gotta look at why these moves didn't work. And you set a 60-day deadline for BriseBois to present a detailed plan to address playoff shortcomings, particularly in physicality and depth. They should strengthen analytics and scouting. Invest in advanced analytics to identify undervalued players who can add the bite and physicality needed to match teams like the Florida Panthers. With limited draft picks, only 3 in the first 5 rounds of 2025, enhance pro scouting to uncover trade targets or free agents who can bolster the lineup without sacrificing future assets. They should have cap space utilization. With the accrued cap space and a rising salary cap, BriseBois has room to maneuver without the usual dollar in, dollar out constraints. Prioritize strategic signings or trades in the offseason to address key weaknesses, focusing on players who can perform under playoff pressure. Now for coaching staff adjustments, gotta evaluate Jon Cooper's future. Cooper, the longest tenured coach in the NHL, has a storied history with 2 Stanley Cups, but speculation about his departure potentially to the Utah Hockey Club due to his relationship with owner Ryan Smith has intensified after the latest exit. If I were the Tampa Bay Lightning, I would initiate a candid discussion with Cooper about his commitment through his contract, which ends the following season, and whether his new voice is needed in the locker room. If he stays, mandate a tactical shift to address recurring issues like the power play struggles, failing on 15 straight opportunities in the playoffs. If he expresses interest in leaving, begin a discreet search for a successor with a proven playoff track record. They also need to revamp assistant coaching staff. Regardless of Cooper's status, overhaul the special teams and defensive coaching. The power play's collapse and defensive breakdowns were pivotal in this series, lost to Florida. Replace or supplement current assistants like Jeff Halpern, Rob Zettler, and Jeff Blashill with specialists in power play schemes and defensive structures. And we'll move to the player personnel and roster moves. Core player assessments. The core of Nikita Kucherov, Andrei Vasilevsky, Braden Point, and Victor Hedman struggled significantly in the playoffs, with Kucherov failing to score a goal and Vasilevsky posting a .872 save percentage. Not all of it was Vasilevsky's fault. The defense was terrible. There was multiple goals in the series where all 5 of the Lightning players were on one side of the ice, and they have a Florida Panthers player right in the front of Vasilevsky and was able to score. But while moving on from these players is unlikely due to their talent and history, hold accountability sessions to address their postseason drop-off. Explore psychological or conditioning support to ensure peak performance in high-stake games. Building around the core remains valuable, but complementary pieces are critical. They need to add physicality and depth. The Lightning were outmatched by Florida's forecheck and physical play. Target free agents or trade for bottom 6 forwards and mobile defensemen who can add grit and secondary scoring. With cap space available, pursue players like pending UFAs or trade targets who fit this mold, avoiding over-reliance on stars. And they need to have better goaltending support for Vasilevsky's. Vasilevsky's workload and subpar playoff performance suggest fatigue and or overuse. Acquire a reliable backup goaltender to split regular season games for more evenly, preserving his energy for the postseason. Jonas Johansson, who is going to be a potential UFA, may not suffice as the long-term solution. And they got to look at prospect development and integration. Decisions on prospects like Isaac Hauer, who may become a free agent if not signed, are critical. BriseBois must decide whether to trade Howard for a significant return or integrate him into the lineup. Additionally, give younger players like Connor Geekie more NHL exposure to build depth and prepare for a gradual transition as core ages. Now, if Cooper decides to stay, which assistant coaches should be replaced and who should be brought in? If he decides to stay as a head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning following this team's third consecutive first-round playoff exit, a critical evaluation of the assistant coach staff is necessary to address persistent issues in team performance. They should look at replacing Jeff Blashill, who's currently an assistant coach with the Lightning and has been garnering interest from other NHL teams for head coaching positions. His potential departure, combined with fan sentiment suggesting dissatisfaction, as seen on social media posts proposing his firing, indicates that a change might be beneficial. His tenure has overlapped with recent playoff struggles, including special teams failures, suggesting a need for fresh perspectives in his areas of responsibility. Another one would be Jeff Halpern. Like Blashill, Halpern is also on the radar of other teams for head coaching roles, given the Lightning's recurring issues with power play efficiency and in-game adjustments during the playoffs. Halpern's role in these systems warrants scrutiny. Replacing him could help reintroduce new strategies to address these shortcomings, especially since his potential exit for a head coaching job elsewhere might already be on the horizon. So who could they look for to replace them? Lightning's power play has been a significant weakness in recent playoffs, failing to capitalize on numerous opportunities. A new assistant coach with a proven track record in designing effective power play schemes should be prioritized. A potential candidate could be Brad Shaw, who has experience as an assistant coach with the Philadelphia Flyers and Vancouver Canucks. Focusing on special teams and defensive structure, his expertise could address the Lightning's inability to convert on man advantage situations. You should also look at hiring a defensive systems expert. The departure of Derek Lalonde in 2022, who was instrumental in crafting the Lightning's defensive juggernaut during their cup-winning years, has left a noticeable gap in defensive cohesion. Bringing in a coach like Dave Haxel, recently available after his tenure with the Seattle Kraken and known for structured defensive systems during his time at North Dakota and with the Philadelphia Flyers, could help rebuild the team's back-end stability. This move would aim to reduce goals against in critical playoff games, an area of concern in recent postseasons. If Jon Cooper remains as head coach, replacing Jeff Blashill and Jeff Halpern with specialists in special teams and defensive systems such as Brad Shaw and Dave Haxel would target the Lightning's most glaring weaknesses exposed in recent playoff exits. As their offseason just getting started, who should Lightning trade, release, and sign? They should think about trading Anthony Cirelli. Fan speculation on forums suggests trading several core players, including Cirelli, to shake up the roster. While moving core pieces like Kucherov and Vasilevsky is practical, Cirelli could fetch a high return due to his two-way play and contract status. Target a top four defenseman or a package including a physical forward and a draft pick to address defensive gaps and add grit areas where Lightning have been outmatched by teams like the Florida Panthers. They should probably not look into re-signing Luke Glendening. He's likely headed to a new team in the summer as a free agent, and rumors indicate he's not expected back. His role as a fourth liner hasn't provided the necessary scoring or physical presence to compete with deeper teams. Letting him walk will free up cap space and a roster spot for a more impactful bottom six forward. Another player not to re-sign would be Jonas Johansson. Johansson, the current backup goaltender, is also not expected to return next season. His performance has been underwhelming compared to potential upgrades, and the Lightning need a more reliable backup to reduce Andrei Vasilevsky's workload. Releasing him will open the door for a better option in free agency or via a trade. Now, there's a few players the Lightning could target in this offseason. They should look at signing Brandon Saad. With Yanni Gourde and Luke Glendening potentially leaving, the Lightning need scoring from their bottom six to match teams like Florida. Saad, identified as a target, has proven he can contribute offensively, as seen in Vegas after a stint in St. Louis, and can play lower in the lineup at a reasonable cost. His addition would replace the production lost from departing forwards and add depth scoring, for a likely 2-year, $3 million AAV contract. They can also look at signing Eric Robinson. Robinson, another suggested target, broke out this season with 14 goals and offers versatility as a center or winger. His affordability and ability to contribute offensively makes him a strong fit for the middle six or bottom six roles, addressing the depth issues exposed in the playoffs. Target a 3-year deal at approximately 2.5 AAV if he tests free agency. And lastly, could sign Dan Vladar. As a recommended upgrade over Johansson, Vladar has performed well on a weaker team and fits the role of a pure backup who won't demand significant starts. His acquisition would help manage Vasilevsky's workload, ensuring the starter is fresh for the postseason. Pursue a trade or signing a 2-year, $2.2 million AAV contract to secure a reliable goaltending tandem. Now to look even further to the following season, if Jon Cooper decides to leave the Tampa Bay Lightning after his contract expires following the 2025-26 season, the organization will need to identify a head coach capable of maintaining the team's competitive edge with addressing recent playoff shortcomings. Here are 3 ideal candidates for the head coaching position in Tampa Bay. First one, Rod Brind'Amour, currently the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. Brind'Amour has demonstrated exceptional consistency, becoming the first coach in NHL history to win at least one postseason series in each of his first 7 years of tenure. His ability to build a structured, defensively sound team with a strong forecheck aligns with the Tampa Bay's need to counter physical, high-pressure opponents like the Florida Panthers. Brind'Amour's experience in taking Carolina to multiple conference finals also suggests he can elevate Tampa Bay beyond recent first-round exits. If available, which I don't know if that's going to be likely, this is a very big stretch, but just for the sake of this video, his proven playoff success and player development skills make him a top choice. Another one would be David Carle. As a rising star in the coaching world, Carle has led the University of Denver to 2 NCAA championships in the last 4 years and guided Team USA to gold at the 2024 World Juniors. At 35, he represents a modern, innovative approach to hockey, focusing on skill development and adaptability, key traits for a Lightning roster that needs to integrate younger prospects while maintaining veteran leadership. Though transitioning from collegiate to NHL coaching carries risks. His Flyers connections and reputation as a forward-thinking coach suggests he could bring fresh energy to Tampa Bay. His openness to the opportunity of a lifetime could make the Lightning job appealing. And also, for last, Ian Laprairie, currently the head coach of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the AHL affiliate of the Philadelphia Flyers. Laprairie has been with the Flyers organization in coaching roles for over a decade and has led the Phantoms to the postseason for 3 consecutive seasons. Known as a player's coach, he fosters a positive locker room culture, which could help invigorate a Lightning team potentially fatigued by a long-tenured coach's message. His familiarity with developing talent at the AHL level and ability to connect with players make him a dark horse candidate to nurture Tampa Bay's mix of veterans and prospects. If Jon Cooper departs after the 2025-26 season, the Tampa Bay Lightning should prioritize a head coach who can address recent playoff failures while leveraging the team's talented core and emerging prospects. Rod Brind'Amour offers a battle-tested option with a track record of postseason success. David Carle brings a fresh, modern perspective ideal for a transitional phase, and Ian Laprairie provides a player-centric approach with developmental expertise. Each candidate offers unique strengths to guide the Lightning back to Stanley Cup contention. The Tampa Bay Lightning are at a crossroads after 3 consecutive first-round exits, but a full rebuild is unnecessary. With a still capable core, this plan focuses on accountability, tactical adjustments, and targeted roster improvements to restore the team's playoff prowess. Immediate action in the offseason, combined with long-term planning for youth integration, will position the Lightning to break the cycle of early exits and compete for the Stanley Cup in 2025-26. The Lightning needs to make some moves. The core they have now is not cutting it. They need to add depth. We know how great of a coach Jon Cooper is, and everyone would love to have him as their coach. But if you're a Lightning fan, it's time to realize that his time could be up, whether you want it or not. Maybe the Lightning needs a new voice, but they need to start thinking about long-term plans now. That's it for this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and comment. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time in Overtime.